need the Cajun at gymnasium. I play to win, Will still Chamberlain. Even Damien and Satan is afraid of him.
Oh, word? And they was talking all that hot-ish. Well, the prophets ain't apostles here, the gospel is the gossip. I'm a science project, try and pocket this rhyming process. Watch us in formation, going through lines. Fiber optics, this is Miley Cyrus in her freak phase. The naked truth, don't be Ray Caruth in a trunk punk, just take the truth. Shit, Daisy Dukes at a night show. I raid your room, change the mood. That was like though, yeah. Break a fuse if they refuse. This snapping, shots without the flashes. If I was ever in a pit with you, that's harassment. Your storyboard magic that had it. To be real, our ears over the field like 100-yard passes. Score the basket, order more caskets. Only way they getting bypasses is gastric. I'm tapped in, it's too late. Fix your face, this is sleeping on a killer in a cabin by Crystal Lake. Lord, we got rent to raise.
They gon' need to raise the rim. They gon' need a Cajun at gymnasium. I play to win, Will still Chamberlain. Put the globe on my middle finger and made it spin. They gon' need to raise the rim.
Peace, family. Welcome to another episode Underground Railroad Productions. It's your host, Brother Rich, out on 125th. Giving you a view of Harlem with Blue Pill, man. Welcome back, Blue.
Peace, love, and life, family. All right. Brother Blue, Port live and direct. Peace to the family, Black Magic. Support, patreon.com. You already know what it is. Hold on. Holy Ghost EPs in stores now, streaming on all networks. Where can they find it online?
You could go to www.holyghostalbum.com.
Okay.
And purchase the physical copy if you want to stream it. You know, all the platforms, iTunes, you just go to all the platforms to stream it.
Salute to Brother Rich. Salute to Cambada, Black Magic for taking home
Best album
that coveted
at
award.
the Sonetta Awards.
Heavy
Yes,
competition.
sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? We're trying to make it a little bit heavier this upcoming year. Get that twinneralbum.com.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed. Executive produced by Cambada. It's all in-house. Amazing performance. Congratulations on the award. Yes, indeed.
Blue, man, you are the decoder. You been, you and Red.
Yeah. Salute. We got the award for Master Decoder of the Year, so peace, Queen. So, you know, I'ma actually try my hand here to see what we come up with.
So, everybody feels as though everything that's going on right now, Blue.
Yes.
This has to be biblical what's happening. Trump being in office, everything we're seeing going on, there has to be a meaning behind, or a deeper meaning behind what we see, even with Obama being president.
Yes.
It has to be a deeper meaning than the surface level of what's going on.
Obama becoming president set off a lot of signals in the religious realm.
Yes.
Be it the Episcopalian or the evangelicals, or especially the Jewish mystics, you know what I'm saying? It set a lot of signals off because they were able to see the quote-unquote sign of the time as it applies to scripture and things of that nature. You know, there's some very interesting ones that I saw in particular. A lot of stuff out of the book of Daniel, you know what I mean? Pertaining to Obama. But yeah, you know, and it's a very hard conversation to have with people who are dismissive of religion. The people who have wounds or badges based on a religious indoctrination. When we talk like this, we immediately get branded pseudo. But
yes.
I can't help but see the fact that there are many things repetitiously in society in the now that are taking place that speak directly to the book, peace. So it baffles me how many people have been raised in the book, whether that book be the Quran, whether that book be the Bible, whether that book be the Torah. They have been prepared and indoctrinated for these times their entire life, only to get to this place in time and fall asleep and not be mindful of the signs of the times that are taking place. You know what I mean?
So what's going on?
One of these signs in particular that I want to speak about is this latest incident that we see. It was a global incident. It captured the world attention, right? I don't know these days what qualifies as a sign anymore. But things that capture global attention and collectively the world has their heart on, that's enough. That's enough to signal the fact that that's something that we should pay attention to. Does that automatically make it a sign of the time? Not necessarily. But when you have an incident such as this that captures the world attention and then is coupled and spiced with all of these numerics in the story running through it like it's a parable, yes, we have to revisit this story in its biblical context, even though we're not Bible thumpers. But my name is Paul. All right? So, what we're talking about is the world's first collective rescue mission for the 12 divers in Thailand who were lost in the cave for 3 days. Okay? So you had 12 divers plus their coach. So, according to the parable, and I'm stripping down the whole puritanical aspect of saying, oh, these people were not born in the manger, so you can't compare them to the story of Christ. I'm saying, if we're looking at the symbolism, if we strip it down and just look at the symbolism, then we can see that they are definitely, signaling something. The universe is speaking through these signs once again, but people being symbol illiterate, we have not been trained to use our eyes. We have not been trained to use our ears. Those with eyes shall see, and those with ears shall hear. We haven't been trained to do other. So all of these things are just going like this, they're like that. You feel me? And we're not hearing the sirens. We're not hearing the alarms going off. We're not putting things in their proper context. So, when I'm listening to the reporting, and all of the media is on site, and it just so happens that, it's Channel 4 News every time you see it, but that's a whole nother story. They're talking about this being an epic Hollywood blockbuster of a drama. You know what I'm saying? So they're already speaking to it like, you're like, is this Hollywood? Am I looking at a movie? Because it's very movie-like, you feel me? But it almost ended as a fairy tale, albeit one of the divers was killed. You know what I'm saying? So the sacrifice is very necessary when you have a ritual of this proportion. You definitely have to have a sacrifice. Now, am I saying that the Illuminati is behind this? Or there's some people, in a smoke-filled room pulling strings? Not necessarily. I'm saying that the Most High that you speak of, that's the greatest conspiracy theorist. That's the greatest framer of conspiracy, because we always like to say, well, the story of Christ was repetitious and it happened 60 times before it. So my whole thing is, if a Christos has come, does that automatically seal prophecy? The fact that you saying that these things are repetitious, they say that a prophet comes to all people at all times. Well, these are different people and this is a different time. So where are their prophets at? Or where are their prophecies? Or where are the signs of their prophecies? Because the wheels are continuously spinning. And if you're saying that it's repetitious and it happened X amount of times before, then why do we not think that it's going to continuously happen now? So you have these 12 children and you have their one coach. Same way that you had the one Christ with the 12 disciples. You have the 12 divers that rescued them, and you have the one dead diver. You know what I'm saying? You have the whole rescue mission being in couplets of 4. So they rescue 4 boys one day. They rescue 4 the next day. Then they rescue 4 plus the coach the next day. You know what I'm saying? On the days, as the days are being reported, as the situation was alleviated, it was 8 days since they were found after that, okay? But 17 days in total that they were missing, you know what I'm saying? They're using the motifs out of darkness into light. They're using a lot of religious motifs in the story.
Who's they? Who's they?
The reporters, the media. You know what I'm saying? The people who are reporting and conveying the story to the hearts and the minds of the audience that are at home in their living room, watching it, captivated by the fact that they know that they're looking at a movie. Okay? So you have the 4 elite Thai Navy SEALs. You have 4 different countries that were involved in a rescue mission initially. Britain, US, Japan, in Australia, okay? Totaling 100 divers in all that were collectively part of this mission, okay? In the whole aspect of this particular mystical mountain that they were involved in, there's all sort of mythos that are attached to this mountain, and now they're saying they're attributing the safety of these children by being, you know, afforded to the mountain. The mountain is being afforded as a protectorate of these children. So they're giving the mountain, praise as if this is a physical being or an entity. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, there's a lot going on. I'm gonna get a little bit more into it when I get into the Law 44 lecture. There were 44 people that died in Thailand the same day in a boat capsizing accident by way of the monsoon. So, you know, the numbers always have find a way to exact themselves, even if you can't look at the more subtle aspects, how the numbers are expressing themselves in the story. The number expresses itself totally, you feel me, on the other side of things. So seemingly unrelated events are always tied together by this particular number. You dig what I'm saying? And of course, we can go to the 144,000 in the Bible, in the biblical narrative, and we can show evidence continuously over and over and over and over and over again how 44 in the Bible is all speaking about biblical prophecy. You know what I'm saying? It's all tied into the blood. So I want people to look at this story again with, you know, a fresher set of eyes. And again, looking for the motifs, looking for the parables. Don't go in there looking for a stringy-haired European with blue eyes with a staff talking about he's Christ. That's not what you should be looking for. Look at the motifs. Look at the parables. Look at how these numbers are being used. Look at what they're talking about in regards to miracles and heroes and all of the narratives or the motifs that are important to have in these particular narratives to make them larger than life or biblical in proportion. All right? So check it out. Do the research on Thai. People are asking me why Thailand. Research Thailand. Research Angkor Wat. Research who these people are, what region of the planet this is, who are the indigenous ancestors of this particular region. Do your research. Stop every time that you see somebody that's not from continental Africa or from somewhere else, you can't make no goddamn connections. You feel me? You always want to put yourself in the story, but you can't put yourself in the story. You feel me? You always want to put yourself in the story, but you can't put yourself in the story. Or you want to put yourself in the story, but you don't want to be that person in the story. You don't want to play the part of that story. So if the story shifts to other people in another place, why are you in your feelings? That's your family, goddammit.
But Blue, what is this narrative? When you keep talking about narrative and what this symbolizes, what does this mean? Like we talked about some symbolism. Yes. And what the blue, what was that? Not the blue moon. That what was that big
blood
event?
Moon.
Not the blood moon. The big event we had.
Solar eclipse.
After the solar eclipse.
Yes.
We talked about how things that was lurked in the subconscious of humanity will be revealed. Right after that, all in the news, all you heard about was white supremacy, the Me Too movement, how the feminine energy has been suppressed. All of that came to the forefront after that eclipse. So we understood, like, damn, this shit was real.
You understood?
Yes, I understood.
They understand?
Some people.
Okay.
What I want to know is, when you deal with smaller stories like this, that's not as big as the eclipse, what will this narrative signal? What message does this narrative have to humanity if it's big enough for you to bring up on the platform?
Again, I'm doing the knowledge to the fact that I'm bearing witness to these particular signs and these seals being broken at this particular time. What exactly does it signal? It's igniting something in the subconscious. Like I said, people are templated to be indoctrinated by these stories their entire lives. They study these stories. They're part of this particular narrative,
yes,
but they can't make the connection when it's outside of the context of how the story has been sold to them. You feel me? But the context, the story's still igniting something in them. It's still waking something up in them. Or it's signaling to you that we are at a particular time. I was speaking to the paradigm shifters about this in their lecture. If we are going through so many things, like I asked them in particular, you know, do you feel in any way that what we saw at the border with the little Mexican babies, you know what I'm saying? Does the universe have a hand at all in any way to show the commonality for people to say, you got the same common enemy? You know what I'm saying? When are you gonna get on board? Because you people are traumatized by being in cages for 400 years, but now we're showing you babies in cages. Do you have any empathy for people who end up in cages? You feel me? Because if you feel it for yourself, you should be able to feel it for somebody else, especially if you have the common foe in common. You know what I'm saying? But your reluctance to not only see that and show some empathy towards it, but do anything about it. Does it allow for the shit to happen double time to you? Or when you miss these opportunities for unity, you know what I'm saying? You can't fight this mother, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gonna tackle him alone, or you gonna utilize the opportunity to form coalition, to see what you have in common. You have a common foe, you have an adversary, you have an enemy. Why all of the separation? You know what I'm saying? Oh, you don't belong in that cage. That cage is exclusively mine. You need to get out that cage so I can get back in it. That's how niggas sounded. You know what I'm saying? That cage is exclusively mine. I've put in 400 years to that cage. You just can't come around here right now, jumping up in that cage, getting news coverage, and then getting a resolution in a week. How dare you? We want our civil rights back. What you gonna do with it when you get it? Niggas ain't doing nothing with that. They just want to complain about everybody else that jumps in their lane. You feel me? And then you clear the lane out of what niggas doing. They got beach chairs in the lane. How you gonna have a beach chair in the lane? This lane is for driving, goddammit. Get out the way. So, what I'm saying is that if we are so blind to the times, you feel me? Is there repercussions to pay because you continuously are missing these junctures or these periods in time that are signaling the fact that if your ass religious, you need to become more religious. Maybe that's what the sign is showing. If you're a metaphysician, then you need to start doing the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? If you're an atheist, then you're gonna be calling me pseudo, so we already know what that's about. You know what I'm saying? If you're on the fence, then you can be looking at it and aspiring a different level of appreciation for people coming together to do something that seemingly is impossible. Mission Impossible was done. Like I said, by us even seeing, let's say Donald Trump is a seal. Okay, that's the sound of the trumpets, right? The sound of the trumpets. We're past that particular sign. You know what I mean? What does it mean? It means that if this person is in office and he was able to do it, then you could do anything. So the realm of impossibility should open up for people. They should be looking to do things that previously they were hitting brick walls to do, because this universe is signaling, look, I'm giving passes out right now. If I did this for this individual, chances are, you know what I mean? If you're serious enough about it, your intent is real enough about what you want to do, we might make that happen. But you also might be part of the larger narrative. And right now might be the time to ignite that and really dig into who itself, because you can be part of this story. You know what I'm saying? This larger story that's playing into this thing that's taking place right here, right now, that they've been talking about forever and a day. You feel me? Peace, God. Are you? And like I said, I don't have to be a Bible thumper to have an appreciation for parables in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to be indoctrinated in the dogmatic aspects of a religion to understand the fact that, yes, if people collectively are being fed something for centuries upon centuries and generations upon generations. Look, family, let's be honest enough. We just recently came with the Ankh. We just recently came with this information. But if you're talking about a deeply embedded program in our people who are projectors themselves, yes, then that program has the ability fractally to spawn all sorts of realities that we should at least pay a witness to. Because if nothing else it shows is the ability of planting seeds in the subconscious and then something coming out of it later on that's tangible. You dig what I'm saying? So if nothing else, we could just be looking at things to set examples to the shit to say, well, if we take this approach and we create these narratives and these stories and these mythos and we start planting it in the minds of these babies today, maybe 80 years from now, we could see some relief. That shit sound better than the fucking plans you got, because it don't have no end dates involved to it. There's no victory at the end of the finish line. There is no finish line in that narrative. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, the little babies, they were able to be rescued. We saw a miracle. We saw a world coalition coming together to work on something that in our hearts and minds we feel is peaceful, as opposed to coalitions to come together to bomb other countries. You dig what I'm saying? And we got this whole aspect, like I said, to be indoctrinated or signaled by these numbers, these auspicious numbers that have traveled through time memorial, not only in biblical narratives, but narratives before that. So then you got to get into all this whole aspect of what do numbers mean, because you still have a large contingency of people in the audience who don't think that numbers are valid or numbers have any validity in regards to symbolism. They're symbol illiterate.
We talk about symbols. We talk about how symbols and pictures are worth 1,000 words.
Lord. You good? How are you? You good? All right.
You give me love and respect when you see just told me he saw you.
Yes.
So blue.
Yes, I.
So you heard me. We talk about, you ended on symbols, and we talk about how symbols and words. Well, symbols are worth, and pictures. They be like, yo, a picture's worth 1,000 words when you see a pain. You know what I'm saying? It's not just a pain.
Yes. And they say a symbol's worth a million.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes.
So when we have these parables or these narratives, are they worth 1,000 different meanings? And when I say that, I mean the Bible. We're talking about the Bible. The Bible has been used to interpret, justify just about everything you could think of. I mean, the mistreatment of women, the mistreatment of children,
mistreatment of the blacks.
The blacks, the Hamites, or, I mean, the Bible has been used and interpreted and flipped and whatever. I've seen people have taken Malcolm X quotes and used it to justify why we need to change the laws about the immigrants with the Mexicans. Anything you say, that a white supremacist, Blue Pill, 1,000 years from now, will use words you say to justify white supremacy and flip it. I don't know if you're aware. He will take words you say and he will flip it for his contextual purpose. And he will say, Blue Pill was for the black community and he agreed with me. So if he agreed with me, if you don't agree with me, you was against the great Blue Pill. Yeah! And everybody's gonna say, yeah, Blue Pill, Blue Pill. Yo, Blue, this shit is real.
Please don't do that. Yeah.
So words can be extremely neutral and they could go either way. So with me saying that, what I want to ask you is about this story and about the Bible. How do you feel about the Bible? You're 2018. You have on a hat from the Paradigm Shifters. You have a Buddha chain on. You have crystals on. You're obviously a man that has been involved in all different cultures. How do you feel about a people taking?
I got my chicken foot on too.
There you go. There you go. How do you feel about the Bible, since you're talking about biblical prophecy? How do you feel about the Bible in 2018, Blue Pill? Since you have advanced into all this other stuff.
I look at the Bible as a book of magic. You know what I'm saying? And I take I study the Bible, right? Like I said, I'm not a Bible thumper, but it's one of the most important books on the planet. So it would be remiss.
The Bible?
Yes.
After all your studying, after all your studying, you will still say the Bible.
It's a book. It got the people under spell. It's effective and it's magic.
Indeed.
We can look at outside and see that it's the most effective book of magic that's being utilized at this particular time right now. So I don't want to be a victim to the magic. I need to understand it. And then it was written by a man who I'm named after, Paul. Okay? Paul wrote the Bible, God damn it.
Paul wrote the Bible.
That's right. Do your research.
Paul who?
The Apostle Paul.
Apostle Paul. Okay.
It's called Pauline Christianity. You know what I'm saying? Paul attributed a lot of the mystical things to Jesus that are attributed to Jesus. All of them came out of the imagination of Paul. Okay?
Okay. Hey.
Do the research, and you're doing a documentary on Christianity, from what I understand, right?
Spirituality, not Christian.
Yeah, but you look into Paul. Paul is a key figure into all of this. You know, who started his mission in 44 BC in Antioch. So I'm very interested in the narrative. I'm very interested in the spell. Just the law of 44 alone would make me never throw the Bible away. You know what I'm saying? As a book of magic. So I'm a student. Peace. Peace. So if a people cannot explain to me how this book impacts them, right, magically, then they can't tell me about the history, they can't tell me about the this, they can't tell me about the that. They don't read Hebrew, and they're not into Kabbalah. I don't have nothing to say to anybody who thinks that they know what the Bible is about. They're free to their own interpretation. You know what I'm saying? But we light years ahead of them. So what do we have to explain in regards to why this is something that we research and study? You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not a Bible thumper, but I damn sure research the Bible. You feel me? And I pay attention to signs and seals. You know, because these things are evident.
Is it the Bible that's advanced, or is it every holy book? Like when you say you study the Bible, do you study the Quran?
Study the Quran as well.
So I mean,
and I adhere to principles from both books. You know what I mean?
Is there a particular book that you feel when you because you're the master decoder now? People are looking at you like, how is Blue decoding all of this? So when people look at you as a decoder, they're wondering, how are you able to decode this? So is there a particular spiritual system that you tap into that allows you to understand all of these symbols from the universe?
Law of 44.
I mean, is that, where would you group that? Explain. Like,
the law of 44 is the law of everything. It's a theorem. It's the law of everything known and unknown. So the Bible fits into it. The Quran fits into it. Everything fits into it. It's universal. You understand? So, yeah. That's it in a nutshell. So these books are not beyond reproach in regards to going into them and extracting. You know, what I do when I read them is I'm looking for the commonality. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for the throughways. I'm looking for universal law. I know it's dogmatic. I know where man inserted his hand. I know where the game is at. You feel me? I figured that shit out when I was incarcerated, and I used to read these books with my spirit. And my fucking voice in my head would be like, no, not that, this. You know what I'm saying? So for people such as myself who have had intimate moments with spirit in regards to these books, there's nothing that you can tell someone who has experienced these particular things that there's nothing there, that there's no power there. You know what I'm saying? There's just nothing that you can tell somebody who has had real life experiences. And this is not for me to relate to somebody else to try to convince them of. You know, but there's power in them books. There's power in the word, period. Whether it's the word that you agree with or not, whether you feel that that word is truth or false or what have you. You know what I'm saying? Many of you was born based on some false narratives that your daddy told your mama, but he was able to finesse it and word it slick enough that your ass got here, didn't you? All right, so let's cut it out. Right? In English, it was befitting, and you know, it worked well enough at that particular time when it came to him running some game on your mama for your ass to get here. Okay? Because he ain't do it in Wolf. He did it in English. Broken English, 9 out of 10. All right? But the shit works.
Blue Bill, have you ever seen Westworld?
Absolutely.
In Westworld, very interesting movie. I mean, not movie, show on Showtime or HBO. Is it Showtime or HBO? I forget.
HBO.
HBO, right. So, there's a particular narrative that's supposed to be played out by this artificial intelligence.
Facts.
And pretty much the same narrative is played out through different cultures. Asia, America, so on and so forth. This biblical prophecy, the prophecy from the Quran, the prophecy from the holy books, Are we as humanity, regardless of our culture, regardless of our race, regardless of our gender, is our only purpose to serve out the prophecy from all of these books? Because they seem similar. So are all we doing, what's going on today with you, with Red Pill, the conscious community, the black community, is this just a prophecy that has been fulfilled many times over in other communities and other cultures, and you're just one of the programs within the matrix that's doing the same thing?
In Kemet, there's something called a Zeptepi, right? So what the Zeptepi is during the changing over of times, there's always keepers of time. You know what I'm saying? So when times change over, there's always a contingency of people who are responsible for being timekeepers and the people that usher in that particular change or that wave. You know, so yes, I see that there is a circuitous, repetitious aspect of a template of a people who continuously come back during a particular time to usher a new time in. You know what I'm saying? Check this out. You know, and the Bible is very malleable. You know what I'm saying? You can bend it and shape it to whatever you want necessarily it to be. You feel me? It's somewhat, we treat it like it's a fixed form, but it's somewhat formless. Because it's a book, apparently, that they have brought to all nations of people, and the people have made it theirs, based on where they at.
But it's kind of like life, Blue, isn't it? In the sense that, let me give you an example. Personal example, I want to tell the people. I was going to invest in Bitcoin, right?
Yes.
When I heard it was popular, well, your program, KTL, y'all was talking about it way in advance. Right. But it's 2018, probably 2016, I was going to invest in it, and I didn't. And I could have, and I missed out on that gold rush with Bitcoin, right. That wave. And I said to myself, like, damn, I fucked up. I ain't invest in Bitcoin. But then another part of me saying, no, this should teach you that if you have that intuitive feeling, that little feeling inside you, to move on it. So when it came time for me to do the Gathering of Masters, I said, yo, I had this feeling with Bitcoin. I'm not gonna miss out on it now. I'm gonna run with it. And I had that feeling with 3 particular gentlemen. And I said, no. And my other mind said, you know, it might be, you don't know, this might not work. This is expensive to put together. But I said, no, this is the same feeling I had with Bitcoin. So my point being that I could have used that Bitcoin, me missing out on the so-called wave, as a loss, or I could have used it as a gain. I used it as an opportunity for me to profit the next time around, for me to say, yeah, I learned from that. So in life, it could be a lesson or a loss. So in the Bible, is that just how this shit work down here, Blue? I say one word, and you could take it for one thing, and a white supremacist could take it for one thing, and both of y'all could benefit from one single sentence, I say?
Narrative. We all have tongues.
Right.
We all have brains, right?
Uh-huh.
So we all have the ability to formulate and form narrative inherently to whatever our end goal is. What we want out of life. We're going to make it work for us. Same way, like I said, they could drop the Bible in Nigeria. The Nigerians are going to make it work for them.
Yeah, right.
The Senegalese going to make it work for them. You feel me? You could drop the Quran in these places. People are going to make these things work for them.
Right.
Based on what? Personal need. You know what I'm saying? And perspective. Oh, this sounds like this. This reminds me of this. I could put this in this particular perspective where it makes sense to this person, so I could captivate this and get that in the process. You know what I mean? So it's narrative. It's the Jesus crisis narrative. You feel me?
Okay.
As Buddha Clinks, my brother Buddha Clinks once said it. The Jesus crisis narrative. We're all running off of that operating system. Whether you are religious or atheist, if you are a citizen of this particular country, you know what I'm saying? On this planet at this particular time, you are affected by the Jesus crisis narrative. All right? So how does one utilize this best befitting to see themselves in the story as victorious? You understand? Because if I'm going to be part and parcel to any story, I'm going to be the victor in that story. All right? Especially if I've convinced myself, goddammit, that I have something to do with the writing or the coding of the story. I'm not gonna write myself in as the loser or the victim or the sacrificial lamb. You dig what I'm saying? So these narratives, once again, are for people to gain more control. You people grew up off Christianity. There's Christians in the audience listening to this. There's people who have been affected by this conversation in one way or the other. What signs do you see? What can you identify? You spent all your goddamn life in that book. Can you come outside and just not say, oh, these are biblical times, but can you show clear signs, proof, and evidence? And as a result, can you put your direct surroundings into perspective? And your direct surroundings can just be the presidency of your country, can be the status of your country, it can be the condition of the families in this particular country, the black family in particular. All of these signs and symbols, all of these books. The book said when you see the breakdown of the family, that's a sign of the end of the times. You feel me? So if nothing else, it can act as an impetus for you to be activated to do something. All right? Whether that doing something is running to tell it on the mountains, finding a rock to get underneath to bury yourself, or you can tap into this whole aspect of your religion that has already told you what you need to do at this particular time. You need to radicalize your Christianity if you're still a Christian. You feel me? Because these are some times that are speaking directly to you. They like right here. You feel me? You turning your other cheek. You shouldn't be turning your other cheek during this particular time when it comes to you identifying the times that you live in. This goes for the Muslims as well. This goes for anybody that's in them books. And it goes for everyone that's not in them side of them books. But, you know, family is finding different ways to deal with reality in real time. You know what I mean? The occultists are doing their thing. The metaphysicians are doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? And they not caught up. But there's people still caught up in religion. They need to start doing their thing. That's what I'm saying.
So let me ask you, the news, the so-called powers that be, when they cover these stories, do you think they understand what's going on, or is this something above them that's just making it happen? That they, when by the time they look up, they're like, oh shit, we didn't even realize we covered a biblical prophecy. Or are they purposely trying to fulfill biblical prophecy?
You know, we've already seen it. You can YouTube the fact that news agencies get the same script to read from.
Right. Yeah.
You feel me? So there's definitely, you know, if and without being signaling out any particular ethnic group, if we know that if news is Jewish media, is mainly Jewish run, and we know at the top of that cabal or Kabbalists, you know what I'm saying? If we know that these people are indoctrinated not just to observe things, but to make sense of them, okay? Because you might not be in the book, you might not be mindful of the times, but they damn sure got some rabbis that are. You feel me? So, of course, there are people that are able, if I can sit back and pay attention to the story, I just heard about the story and I put one and two together. Then when I went and looked at the story, I was like, well, goddamn. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a story with a Christos, because everybody's waiting on this Christ. You don't have a story with a Christ with his 12 disciples and a Christ, and then he spent 3 days in the cave and he came out resurrected. You don't have a story like that, right? I'm just spinning my fucking mind, you know what I'm saying? I'm speaking to myself. No one knows about this narrative. Nobody heard this story before, right? So if you're sitting home and you're looking at the news and they're telling you about it, but it's some boys in Thailand, so you can't put one and two together, just put just, you know, like I said, just make sense of the signs of the times that we're in. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that either one of them little boys is Jesus. You dig what I'm saying? I'm saying that the template has the ability to repeat and replicate itself for you to pay attention, because nothing else seems to be getting your attention. But every time something happens, you say it's a distraction. A distraction from what, my nigga? What was you doing before that? That was so important that you let that come along and distract you, huh? Ratchet Mondays? What was you distracted from? And why, since that subsided, you not getting back to what you seemingly or always seem to be distracted from? You gonna blame it on the distractions all the time.
Brother, it's a distraction is the biggest distraction.
It's a distraction is the distraction. You feel me? Like, we ain't figured that one out yet. If somebody say, this is the distraction, that nigga was asleep all along to begin with. And he damn sure don't want to be woke. Come on now.
Oh, man. Well, Blue, man, I appreciate.
I'm just saying.
You know, we're trying to figure this thing out we're trying to decipher this thing, and I'm dealing with a decoder. Like, you've been around so long, you introduced us to so much, and we want to learn to look at things from a deeper level, from a quantum level, from a subconscious level, because we understand that's what controls what we call 3D, space-time, reality, whatever we call this. So we like different layers to this, Blue. So I definitely appreciate this breakdown on this biblical prophecy with this cave situation. And
I'm just saying, like, I'm gonna unpack it further. You know, when we do, the brother tell you the last lecture I did for Law 44 was 8 hours. So now I'm up to 12 hours. I gotta figure out a way to disseminate this, because y'all say that y'all about this information, but I really don't believe you. You know what I'm saying? So if you can sit through a 12-hour lecture and get all this information.
12 hours.
And then they calling me a Mason. Like I'm hoarding information. No, I have 12 hours of fucking information for you. You're not ready to receive this information and activate, and I don't want to go over your head directly to the White House. But I'm gonna do you this one. I'm gonna put it together. We're gonna unpack the Law 44. We're gonna get a clear, coherent understanding of what these signs and these symbols about. You know what I'm saying? And that's that. Like, and it's gonna accelerate it, because it's gonna start happening only like this after we speak on it. You dig what I'm saying? And we'll just, you know, we'll catch you on the next episode.
We signing out, Blue. Leave your contact info.
Blue Pillar 44. That's on IG. Blue Pillar 44 at Gmail if you need to send me something in regards to that. MyPowerPieces.com, apparelnormal.com, soulgoldbiz.com for that liquid gold. So you can come up with these unique thoughts in real time. Feed your mind some of that gold, peace, love, and light. TwinnerAlbum.com. Make sure you get that. All right? I'm out.
They gon' need the cage in that gymnasium. I play to win, Will still Chamberlain. Even Damien and Satan is afraid of him.
And they was talking all that hot ish. The prophets ain't apostles here, the gospel is the gossip. I'm a science project, try and pocket this rhyming process. Watch us in formation, going through lines. Fiber optics, this is Miley Cyrus in her freak phase. The naked truth, don't be Ray Caruth in a trunk punk. Just take the truth, shit. Daisy Dukes at a night show. I raid your room, change the mood. That was like though, yeah. Break a fuse if they refuse. This snapping, shots without the flashes. If I was ever in a pit with you, that's harassment. Your storyboard magic that had it. To be real, our ears over the field like 100-yard passes. Score the basket, order more caskets. Only way they getting bypasses is gastric. I'm tapped in, it's too late. Fix your face, this is sleeping on a killer in a cabin by Crystal Lake.
Lord,
we got rent to raise.
They gon' need to raise the rim. They gon' need a cage in that gymnasium. I play to win, Will still Chamberlain. Put the globe on my middle finger and made it spin. They gon' need to raise the rim.